In the heart of Ireland's ancient landscape lie the remnants of sacred ground, stone circles, burial mounds, and forgotten groves where the veil between worlds thins. These places were not merely ceremonial, they were portals to realms unseen, where druids whispered to gods and spirits danced in moonlight. The land itself was alive, pulsing with memory and myth. But what made these sites sacred? Was it the alignment of stars, the echo of ancestral footsteps, or something darker, something buried beneath centuries of moss and silence? The answer lies in the rituals, offerings of milk and blood, chants in lost tongues, and fire-lit dances that summoned forces beyond comprehension. These rites were not superstition, they were survival. To appease the gods was to ensure the harvest, the health of kin, the turning of seasons. Yet not all rituals were benign. Some spoke of sacrifice, of bargains struck in desperation, of shadows that lingered long after the flames died. What spirits were called forth in these ceremonies? And what did they demand in return? The myths tell of beings who walked among mortals, shimmering, terrible, beautiful. The Aos Sea, the Tuatha de Danann, the Morrígan, names that still stir unease in the Irish tongue. As we step deeper into this mythic terrain, we begin to see the land not as backdrop, but as character, a living witness to enchantment and dread. Next, we follow the whispers to a place where myth and memory converge, a tale of a spectral queen who ruled not with crown, but curse. She was not born of mortal womb, they say. The Morrígan, phantom queen, goddess of war, harbinger of fate. Her name echoes like a warning across centuries, whispered in the hush before battle and the silence after death. But who was she, truly? A deity? A demon? Or a reflection of something deeper, an ancestral fear wrapped in divine form? The Morrígan did not rule with armies. She ruled with omens, a raven circling overhead, a woman washing bloodied clothes at the river's edge. Her presence foretold ruin. Her voice, they claimed, could unravel courage. And yet, she was revered. Feared, yes, but also worshipped. Offerings were left at riverbanks, prayers muttered beneath breath. Her favor was sought by warriors who knew that survival often required surrender to the unknown. Why would a people embrace such a figure? Perhaps because she embodied truth. The truth that life is fragile, fate is fickle, and power often wears a terrifying face. Legends tell of her appearing to Cuchulainn, Ireland's greatest hero, 3 times before his death. Each time she offered aid. Each time he refused. And so she watched him fall, his fate sealed not by sword, but by pride. Is the Morrígan a villain, or merely a mirror held to the soul of a warrior? Her myth endures because it speaks to something primal, the need to understand death, to name it, to give it form, and in doing so, perhaps to tame it. From the cursed queen, we turn to the enchanted, beings of light and shadow, who dwell beneath the hills, guarding secrets older than time. They are called the Is She, the people of the mounds. Not quite gods, not quite ghosts. They dwell beneath the earth in hollow hills, in barrows and cairns, in places where the wind never rests. To disturb their domain is to invite misfortune. To honor it is to earn their silence. But who are they? Some say they are the remnants of the Tuatha De Danann, ancient deities cast into the earth by invading mortals. Others claim they are spirits of nature, guardians of balance, tricksters cloaked in beauty. Their stories are not gentle. Children lured by music, travelers lost in fog, cattle struck dead without cause. Yet, they are not evil. They are indifferent. Their world is not ours, and their rules are not written for human comfort. Offerings were once left at fairy trees, milk, bread, coins. Paths were rerouted to avoid sacred ground. Doors were kept ajar at night, just in case they passed through. These customs were not quaint. They were survival strategies. Why did people fear them so deeply? Perhaps because the Aos Sea remind us that we are not alone, that the world is layered, and beneath the surface lies a realm that does not care for our logic or laws. And yet, their tales endure. Because they enchant, they unsettle. They whisper of a world just out of reach. If this moment resonates, consider sharing it. Your support helps us tell more stories like this. Next, we follow the trail of a relic said to hold their power, a cursed object passed down through generations, never spoken of aloud. It was small, unassuming, a pendant carved from bone, etched with spirals that defied translation, found buried beneath a hawthorn tree, wrapped in cloth that had not rotted. The farmer who unearthed it never spoke again. Relics like these are not meant to be touched. They are warnings, not treasures, passed down in whispers, hidden in walls, buried in fields no longer plowed. Their origins are lost, but their effects are not. This pendant was said to belong to a seer, a woman who walked between worlds. She wore it during rites that called the Aos Sea, that bent fate to her will. When she died, the village buried it with her, hoping to silence the power it held. But power does not sleep. It waits. After its discovery, livestock died. Children fell ill. Dreams turned violent. The pendant was returned to the earth, but the damage lingered. Some say the land itself soured. Others say the curse was never in the object, but in the act of forgetting its story. Why do we bury what we fear? Is it to protect ourselves or to protect the truth? Relics like this are not rare. Ireland is littered with them. Each one a fragment of myth, a shard of memory, a piece of a puzzle we no longer know how to solve. And yet, they call to us, because we are drawn to mystery, to danger, to the edge of understanding. Next, we journey into the ritual itself, the fire-lit ceremony that once summoned the unseen and the eerie silence that followed. They gathered at dusk, 7 figures, each bearing a token, a lock of hair, a shard of glass, a feather soaked in blood. The ritual was not written, it was remembered, passed mouth to ear, generation to generation, until memory itself became the spell. The rite of thorns was not meant to summon, it was meant to bind, to hold back what lurked beyond the veil. The Aos Sea, the fair folk, the forgotten ones, names given to forces that do not care for names. The pendant was placed at the center, around it, the tokens. The chanting began, not loud but low, like the rumble before a storm. The ground trembled, the torches flared blue, and then silence. Not the silence of peace, the silence of listening. Something had arrived. One of the figures broke the circle. No one knows why. Fear, perhaps, or temptation. They stepped forward, reached for the pendant, and vanished. No scream, no trace, just absence. The ritual collapsed, the binding failed, and the veil thinned. That night, the village heard laughter in the fields, doors slammed without wind, milk curdled in the churn. The old woman who remembered the rite wept until dawn. The pendant was buried again, but the veil never fully healed. Some say the rite can be performed again, that the binding can be restored. But the tokens are lost, the chant is fractured, and the cost is unknown. We chase power, we flirt with mystery, but we forget some doors once opened do not close. Next, we follow the trail of the vanished figure, the one who stepped into the unknown. What they saw and what they became. He was called Cillian, a blacksmith's son, strong, skeptical, and curious in ways that made elders uneasy. When he broke the circle, he did not fall. He crossed. The hollowing is not a place, it is a state, a thinning of the world where rules bend and memory frays. Cillian entered it whole. He did not return that way. For 3 nights, the village searched. Dogs refused to enter the woods, lanterns flickered out. On the 4th night, he came back, but it was not him. His eyes were wrong, too still, too deep. He spoke in riddles, then silence. He touched iron and it screamed. Children cried when he passed. Birds fell from the sky. The elders knew. The hollowing had marked him. He had seen the unseen, and they had seen him. He was watched, studied, feared, but never harmed, because harming him would mean harming what now lived inside him. Cillian began to carve, symbols no one taught him, spirals that moved when stared at too long. He whispered to stones. He wept when the moon was full, and one day, he vanished again, leaving behind a single carving, the pendant etched into oak. Some say he became one of them. Others say he was devoured. But the truth is simpler and darker. He was hollowed, emptied of self, filled with something else. The hollowing still exists, in places where the veil is thin, in dreams that feel too real, in stories that echo with truths we dare not name. Next, we uncover the carvings Cillian left behind, the map, the warnings, and the invitation. Cillian's carvings were not decoration, they were transmission, a language not spoken but felt, each line a vibration, each spiral a doorway. The villagers found them in odd places, under floorboards, behind hearthstones, inside hollowed trees, always hidden, always humming. The carvings told a story, but not in sequence. They were fragments, warnings, invitations, a map of the hollowing, etched in symbols older than myth. One spiral led to a place of forgetting, another to a place of becoming. The largest carving, buried beneath the chapel, depicted a figure with no face, arms outstretched, surrounded by eyes. Beneath it, a single word: come. Scholars dismissed it as madness, but children understood. They traced the symbols and dreamed of forests that breathed, rivers that whispered, skies that blinked. Some woke changed. Others didn't wake at all. The carvings began to fade, not from time, but from disuse. They needed attention, memory, belief. One elder, Maeve, began to copy them. She filled journals with spirals and eyes, her handwriting growing erratic. She claimed the carvings were a map, not to a place, but to a choice. A way to mend the veil, or tear it completely. She vanished on the solstice. Her journal was found open to a page with a new symbol, a door half open, with roots spilling out. The carvings remain. Some say they shift when no one's looking, that they respond to thought, that they are waiting. Maeve's final entry was not written, it was carved. Into the paper, into the desk, into the walls. Spirals, eyes, doors. And one phrase, over and over. Remember what was never known. She had traced the carvings for years, not copying, but communing. She claimed they spoke, not in voice, but in pull. That each symbol was a choice, that the hollowing was not a place to fear, but a truth to face. Her last sketches showed a ritual, not of binding, but of opening. A circle of stones, a pendant, a chant composed of silence and breath. She called it the rejoining. No one saw her perform it. But the night she vanished, the village changed. The wind stopped. The stars blinked. And every carving in every hidden place glowed faintly, then dimmed. Her journal was found days later. The final page was blank. But when held to firelight, symbols emerged, ones no one had seen before. They pulsed, they whispered, they waited. What did Maeve see? What did she become? Perhaps she crossed, perhaps she returned, perhaps she was never meant to stay. The carvings remain, the pendant sleeps, the hollowing hums beneath the soil. If this story moved you, please like, share, and comment to support the work of Emerald Chronicle. Because some myths are not forgotten, they are waiting. Ireland's story isn't written in straight lines. It moves like mist over the Wicklow Hills, shifting, echoing, alive. This is Emerald Chronicle history, myths, legends, and folk tales of Ireland. Here, the past isn't just remembered, it's felt. It hums beneath the soil, whispers through stone, and dances in the rhythm of old songs. We follow that hum, from the first footfalls of prehistory to the last echoes of rebellion. We trace Ireland's winding tale. This is where druids walk beside rebels, where saints whisper to poets, where the sacred and the silenced share the same breath. We don't just tell stories, we reawaken them. Each video is a journey, immersive, evocative, and grounded in truth. Our team dives deep into manuscripts, records, and oral traditions, unearthing fragments of memory long buried. We use AI not to rewrite the past, but to give it form, painting what memory alone cannot. But it's the human voice, the human care, that drives everything we do. You'll find playlists crafted like chapters in a living book, stories of forgotten voices, quiet uprisings, spiritual reckonings, lost kingdoms, distant echoes, and the ever-burning flame of resistance. We explore the mystical and the political, the poetic and the painful, because Ireland's past was never just history. It was always poetry, wrapped in silence, waiting to be heard. Emerald Chronicle is for the curious, the seekers, the lovers of lore. It's for those who feel the pull of something ancient in the wind, for those who believe that myth and memory are two sides of the same truth. So whether you're drawn to the legends of the Tuatha De Danann, the ghostly echoes of famine roads, or the whispered prayers of monastic scribes, there's a place for you here. This is not just a channel, it's a portal, a gathering of stories, a chorus of voices, long thought lost.
Keep your eyes peeled! Nothing on this side.
And now, you're here. If you enjoy the journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Emerald Chronicle. And leave a comment. We reply to every single one, within 24 hours or less. Welcome to the Chronicle. Let the story begin.